When markets move, Stephen E. Orr takes the chair. From the White House to Wall Street, he's spent decades at the intersection of policy, markets, and real capital. And he's seen firsthand how institutions use data behind closed doors. Now, as founder of Quasar Markets, his mission is to pull those signals into the open so everyone can see what really moves the markets. This is Stephen E. Orr, Big Beat on Wall Street. Let's filter the future live.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. It's Tuesday, January 13th, CPI day and the official start of earnings season. Here's the simple framing. Inflation just gave the market some cover, and now earnings has to validate these record highs. Big Beat, how you feeling today, my man?
I'm good. Inflation came in below forecast, so I think the Fed did their job and still got the lower rates, right? All those things happen at the same time. These both can be true. So looks like we came in. What's interesting is natural gas prices went up. We saw a little bit of the oil markets kind of deflate a little bit, obviously, and we've seen that now. But as WTI now pushing above $60 a barrel here, so there's that added bit that we were getting from it is now pushed back up. But then what's interesting for us is food. Wow. Food went up almost 0.5% again. That's big. And shelter also ticked up a bit. So home prices ticking up, rates starting to go back up again, and now it's starting to be a little bit issue here. So while the numbers are good now, how do they pretend in the future? And I think that's the question we have to think about right now.
Yeah, for sure. As you said, core inflation came in cooler than expected, up about 0.2% month over month, 2.6% year over year. Headlines 2.7% year over year. So it does keep the soft landing story alive. If the core is cooling, the Fed doesn't need to retighten, right? That's the room there, and it keeps path maybe and open for cuts later in 2026. What are you pricing in now there, Big Beat?
I would have told you they wouldn't cut, but now with the fight with Powell, the administration fighting with Powell is dumb. So I don't think so. I think that regardless of the politics, I think the Fed does not cut now. I think the president is going to get the opposite of what he's asking for. He went too aggressive, and now he's not going to get what he wants. Look, you kill more flies with honey. You just do, and you don't. This is not good. So
you catch more flies with honey.
Sorry, catch more flies with honey. Yeah, sorry.
Let's not kill the Fed Reserve. Let's give them some honey.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then today, global central bankers obviously are effectively signaling support for the independence framework, and that does matter because the U.S. risk-free rate is the anchor for everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yep, pretty much. I mean, look, it's interesting. We look at gold and silver still pushing higher here, and that means it tells me that people are scared still. So there's nothing stopping that, right? And yeah.
Yeah, it did move rates down a little bit. They were up higher than this earlier. They were threatening to break through 4.2. So it does show that at least the bond trader is pricing in some more downward movement on the rates over the next several months. I don't know exactly what they're left.
I mean, it looks like Kramer is talking to Powell this morning. Actually, is that no, he's not. Yeah, they're talking about Powell now. The backlash
about it, not to him.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I didn't see that on the schedule today. Again, Steve, today it's geopolitical, like you said, commodities. Yeah. Hearing oil short squeeze risk here. What is that all about? Did you see this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are just shorting it. We're starting to see a lot of investors. I'm going to call them investors. I'm going to say the retail is trying to take advantage of this, and they're going to get crushed. You can't push the silver market around, right? We know that now, right? Well, at least they learned that the hard way. You can't push market. You can push individual stocks around. You're not going to push the oil market around, right? So, right, you try to squeeze the oil market, and you're going to get. Well, they don't call it natural gas widowmaker for a reason. Right? There's a reason for they call it that. So, be very careful out there. This is a serious market right now, I think, in a lot of ways. So, man, I wouldn't be touching it right now.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one there for sure. It is, oil and commodities are moving like crypto and beta stocks these days. So it's a little bit of a different look than we're used to seeing here. Steve, we don't have Mr. Flanagan on today, but overnight, Japan was the story. Equities hit record highs while the yen weakened even more here. Now, 158.87 got as high as 159.04 overnight. What are you reading into that?
Lots of sushi and sake when I go next month. Look, I'm kind of excited. I have yen in my pocket ready to go, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even bring it. I mean, just bring dollars. I mean, I just use the credit card. Why spend yen when it's that different, right? So for me, yeah, I kind of like this a lot. This is an interesting play here. I think it goes higher. I do. I really do. I think the dollar goes higher against the yen.
Yeah, I mean, it is so far. We'll see if that continues. Advanced declines up around 1763. So seeing some breath in the market today. Tick's been positive since CPI readings. We now come in looking at the futures. NASDAQ set to open up about 5 basis points. It was down in the pre-market. Same thing with the S&P. Up about 4 basis points. We do see the Dow down about 10 basis points. And we've got earnings to talk about. So obviously JP Morgan's first on the list. They were up about 1% earlier here. Let's see what they're at now. Yeah, they're now about 31 basis points here, Steve. Their earnings came in. What's your takeaways from what you've seen so far?
What's interesting to me is Jamie Dimon saying that it's very dramatic, the word he used, when it comes to talking about capping credit cards. And, it's a rarity. Good morning. It's a rarity for a CEO like that to really use the earnings day to have a backlash against the president and administration like that. Usually it's about your company. So this is something that really is going to hit them if it really happens. And yeah, I think that JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Citibank and the banks are very concerned about it. And while they may have, and they came in a little light. I mean, I think the income there was $13 billion, a 7% year over year drop in their posted net income. But revenue rose 7%, and net interest also rose a little bit. So it tells me that they're looking for other ways of making money. And we've talked about this a couple times, and that's, I say a couple times, many times, mergers and acquisitions, what JP Morgan does well, right? So that's been their bread and butter, and we're going to continue to see that as long as rates continue to stay low. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of give and take here on this banking numbers. I want to see more banks. Is JP Morgan a one-off, or is there other banks like that too? So let's see.
Well, we have that coming up over the next couple of days with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, all on tap. You know, JP Morgan did beat on both lines. The clean takeaway is trading strength carried the quarter, right? Their adjusted EPS came in at $5.23 versus estimates of $5. And it was up pretty significant. It was over 13% to the upside. So it's not a lowered, first thing I looked at was BigBeat's going to get on me. Is it a lowered bar that they were up against? And I don't think that really was a lower bar today, was it?
No, it definitely was not. I'm not going to be all over you on that one. I think you're right. I think you're totally spot on, actually. Yeah.
And their equities trading revenue surged 40% to $2.9 billion. That was the standout. Fixed income was up about 7%. So again, they saw it. Their soft spot, investment banking fees, what you just talked about, where they want to spend more time, effort, and money against, right?
Man, you just said that. As you said that, Jamie Dimon says that he needs to rebuild the Apple Card tech stack embedded in JP Morgan. That's interesting. Yeah. Huh.
So on credit, JP Morgan basically said the consumer is still spending and business conditions are generally healthy, but they are staying vigilant. Their provision for credit loss rose to about 4.7 billion from 2.6. And the big reason cited was that 2.2 billion reserve tied to that Apple Card book. So,
well, yeah, just because you have an Apple phone does not mean you're rich. It doesn't mean you have enough money to pay your bills. So there's a big question mark, right? I mean, that's, to me, tells me everything, right? It's just, oh, okay, well, you're not paying your bills, but you can buy an Apple iPhone. Okay. Well, that's not the responsibility of JP Morgan and the teams that have the card. That should be on them too. So, that's interesting.
Steve, the other one you mentioned it, net interest income, which is the heartbeat for banks in this environment. They were basically right on plan, up about 7%, which is 25 billion or so for the quarter. And they guided up for a full year of about 103 billion, which is constructive headline for the group. So if JP Morgan's given that guidance, is that one of the things that you think bodes well maybe for our bank's earnings?
Yeah, very much so. I do agree with that. Yeah, that's a good point.
And then, as you said, I love listening to Jamie Dimon because, he speaks his mind. He's one of the few that don't sort of cower towards the White House. It doesn't matter who's in it. He was very, against the last White House, against this White House. He speaks his mind. I like that. He said labor has softened, but not worsening. Consumers still spending. Businesses are generally healthy, but not in all sectors. And he flagged, obviously, sticky inflation and elevated asset prices he brought in as maybe being an issue. He told you it's not rolling over, but don't get sloppy because risks are still there. Echoed a lot of what I've heard from you there, BigBeat. So did you happy with what Mr. Dimon had to say today?
I appreciate Jamie listening to me on the show here. It's obvious, yeah.
I will say also what we brought up yesterday with the consumer card APR proposal. He brought it up is that consumer credit economics will compress. Lenders will respond with reduced access, tighter underwriting, and higher fees elsewhere. So, he sort of broke it all down. He usually does. So we'll see what we get coming out of that here today. We did also have on the other side of that, Delta Airlines, Steve, had their earnings. They're down about 4% here in the pre-market. They did have both. They had an EPS beat, a top line revenue miss. Did you have any takeaways there? It's got most of the airlines on the negative today. AAL down about 2%, UAL down 1.6%.
I have a dear friend who says, I don't invest in airlines. I never really understood that. I kind of understand it now a little bit from his perspective, right? Because airlines just are at the whim of the people, right? But they also have other headwinds, which is the government, right? The government regulations and all kinds of things, right? So it is what it is. Wow, we appreciate that. Just look at this, Howard. Look at that. So
Good morning, Zora. You're one of my favorite always too there for sure. Good morning, everybody. Do us a favor, hit the like button, the share button, the follow button. That all does give us some help. Steve, we do still see defensive bid in play here. Some of the bigger movers this morning. LHX, which has gotten White House approval to spin off their missile business. RTX, LMT, NOC, moving to the upside. You a buyer in defense today?
I think defense has gotten a little out of stretched a bit, and that's why I don't like it so much now. If the idea is to be ahead of the game, not behind the game. So right now, yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of not at these rates, not at these prices.
Okay, makes sense there. On the staying on that side, other things moving up today, Intel and AMD semis on some analyst upgrades. You looking for any sympathy plays there across the other chips based upon those upgrades? AMD up about 3.6% on the news.
We're now hearing reports real quickly that the U.S. delegation to Davos will be the largest and most senior ever, including Trump. 5 secretaries,
well,
especially
I was say Trump speaking, which they don't know. The president hasn't gone in years, so
that is correct. This is the first year I'm not going. Actually, I think everyone knows that. I really have no desire here to go. I can tell you right now. Wow, that is a huge envoy that's going. That's a very big envoy. Most countries don't send that many. They don't need to, right? Because if you don't know, Davos is the World Economic Forum. I've been several times. I spoke last year. Been invited to speak this year. I'd turn it down. But the issue here is that Davos is the military is Switzerland militaries of countries are there, and you go from Zurich to Davos. It's a windy road, very cold, unless you're in a nice car, and the whole stage is there. The decision leaders of every country pretty much are there, and they're listening to it. This is bigger than the UN, in a lot of ways. This is the economics, and I think this might be a good time to hear the president talk about what his economic policies really are. I don't think we really know what they are yet. I think I don't want to say he's making it up as he goes, because it's how it feels, but it may not be true. I think it's a good opportunity for us to see that. So I think that's why you're seeing every person going on his team. I think it's a good, smart move on his part.
Nice. Sticking with the tickers here, movers and shakers, some of the biggest movers to the upside today. Like I said, LHX up about 9% so far. HII sticking in the defense sector, which is Huntington Ingalls Industry, big ship maker, right? They are up about 5.2%. Intel up 4.3%. AMD. Guess nuclear is still catching a bid here. Vistra up another 1.95 today, Steve, and all the crypto adjacent names moving to the upside in the pre-market. And you'll like what I have to say. I think we could push to 94, 96 today. Everything lining up. We're seeing some spot buying for the first time across more than just Coinbase.
Can you say that for those of us in the back that need to hear that?
Well, I don't think it's an extended run, but I do think we've got a chance to run up to 94, 96 today. Could give some nice play for those crypto adjacent names, and they're showing strength.
All right, all about time. I've been waiting on it. For those of you who know, I bought back at 88,000 of the stuff that I sold at 92 last time, or 94, I think. And a nice run back to 94 would be nice. I may rinse and repeat here.
Absolutely. Advanced decline continuing to move to the upside now, 1,800. And again, indices seem to want to run a little bit here so far. NASDAQ has come down a little bit. Dow Jones still slightly negative so far. Healthcare was a little bit of a laggard looking at the sectors. as they play out right now. Almost all the sectors are in the green. Financials actually a little bit in the red here today. Still overhang from that APR discussion like we talked about. You think today they catch up there, Steve? Do you think financials maybe catch up?
I think the question is still, the banks, with JP Morgan coming out, that might make people feel a little better. I'm just not sold on it yet. JP Morgan is not the normal bank, right? They're not the region's financials. If you ask me, I'm looking at RF. That is the one that my friend Jay Woods has been looking at quite a bit. That's a regional bank. Kaboom booms, pun not intended. But Regions Financial is an interesting bank. That's the one I want to look at, right? Some of these smaller banks, I think mergers and acquisitions are definitely on play here. So that's the one that I'm interested in.
Okay, I love that. RF trading right now about 28.26 flat on the day. Close to its all-time high, 29.26. So it's towards the upside there already. But that sounds like a good one there. Oracle had a great day yesterday. Steve, you looking to maybe fade that today if it shows any strength today? Back up at 204 here.
Yeah, I still don't like Oracle, as everybody knows here. So I'm just not a big fan here. I will, man, as you said that, Howard, I am looking at ZSL. I know I don't want to change the subject here. I'm looking at ZSL quite heavily here, with silver now breaking that. Man, that is 317. You have to be very careful that they don't have a reverse split. Obviously, they won't do it in the middle of the day. So, I 316. Wow, this is getting way out of whack. 4,600, 4,618 now on gold. Another new high here, 4,619. So this is very interesting here, Howard. I'm sort of not. I think metal is just out of control at this point. But you know what? Banks have metal. Banks own gold and silver. So JP Morgan had a ton of gold. That's where that bald has the most.
Silver up 4% now again, 88.45. Just printing new all-time highs here as you say that.
Yeah, stupid. It's absolutely stupid, and I'm gonna take advantage of that, I think.
Your man Peter Thomas says we're going to 100. He says it's happening pretty quick.
What's the path of least resistance to the upside or the downside? And you can say 100, great, but is 88 to 58? Which is more? And I think Peter's right that they may attack the 100 handle just to attack it, but I think that's just. I mean, come on, liquidity. If you're buying anywhere in the 40s and 50s, and you get to 100, that's just stupid, right? You just got to take your money and run. Man, that's just clear.
I mean, you let it go from 19 to 60. You wouldn't let it go 3 times. I mean, you can sometimes get on both sides of these things, Mr.
Yeah, but you know what?
You can't get to that unless you get to
but
this.
It ran from 19 to 60 over a year and a half. It ran from 60 to 80 in a month and a half. So that's just there's a big, huge difference here, right? And I think to me, that's a huge difference that I got to take profit. And there it is, 318 now. I'm thinking about I might just do this in a pre-market here. This is nuts. If I can get in here, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you short a different way than most people. Mine would have to be over a day, and I'm not doing that yet. I'm just out of the trade there. I'm still in my half of my copper trade, and I will hold that for the whole year, most likely, because that production is not going down.
The average volume ZSL is 50 million. Today's volume already is 121.
Well, it's where everyone's trading. It's Wall Street bets. It's retail. It's everybody. It's that you want to ask where crypto spot volume's gone. It's gone into silver. There is no doubt. I mean, half of my feed, which is a crypto-based feed, is filled with silver, and it's all the crypto folks, that are FOMOing in, which is the end of the retail tail. So, you are right. Be very careful because that does show the retail tail right there.
All right, I'm in at 317 here. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. I just think this is just craziness. I mean, this was at $5 just a couple days ago. I mean, this is. If I look at a weekly chart of ZSL, I mean, like I said, look at the volume over the last few days of ZSL. Just
volume picked up on December 29th, and it hasn't slowed down.
Right. That's craziness. That's just crazy.
Volume is probably 10 times what it was.
Take advantage of that.
I'll tell you who's happy is, again, the trading houses, right?
We're hearing reports that, yeah, there you go. We're hearing reports that X Twitter here is down for quite a few users here. Started. Hopefully that's not happening everywhere. JB Diamond now says that he's building more payment systems and building more AI systems. Okay, great. I mean, we've been talking about that forever, Mr. Diamond.
Yep. I mean, that's everywhere. Salesforce made a big announcement yesterday about their AI agentic stuff going on. So, like you said, a lot of those things were being built over the last year are now all sort of rolling out. We'll see how that plays out. We'll see. I played around with Gemini's new latest version of their AI. Really big improvement on what they used to have.
Well, Apple has now got the big investment with them, right, with Gemini. So
yeah, and the reason it caught my eye, I was looking at the site that I do that rates all of the different AIs out there and puts them up there. And Gemini has moved up towards the top of a bunch of different categories. They've done a nice job. I think that they really have. They've done a nice job. They have done a nice job.
But the key to AI is not one AI. The key to AI is several AIs, right? And just Perplexity, no, that's not going to work. Maybe for a few things, but not everything. Grok, not for everything. It's terrible at finance. It's really good at videos. So AI is whether or not they all come together, right? They need to come together and make one big freaking AI, and that becomes a machine.
Right.
But
well, that's what I'm saying. That the thing that I look at puts together and looks at it and says, okay, this is the best for videos. This is the best for programming. Okay. This is the best for financial. This is the best for social sentiment. That's why I look at it to see what is the ones that are the best that maybe I need to use for certain parts of my day. And you're right. At some point, hopefully they all aggregate into something. And I'm sure they will as they build out. We're 3 minutes from the open here today. Like I said, you can imagine my day is going to be spent watching the crypto adjacent names and crypto in general. Steve, what are you watching here today?
CSL. I think that's key. I'll also say I think that I'm also looking at Costco, and I'm looking at the dollar. I think Steve Flanagan's right. The dollar is getting very wonky, and I think other countries are looking at us like going, "What the hell?" So the dollar could be deflated really quickly. I'm a little concerned about it.
Costco is an interesting one because it's really taken off over the last 7 sessions from 840 to 940. And that's one that I'm actually looking to reject off of the 200-day moving average here. So it could be interesting. Coming right up on that 950 area.
Yeah, and I mean, I might take some profit on that. That was my call for the year, and the run has already started. So it's like, ouch. It's good, but that was my call for the year. It's Costco and CRISPR, as everybody knows, sees. So yeah, 92.3 now on Bitcoin. Come on, baby, let's go.
Yeah, VIX back below 15 here at 1489. So continues to calm down. Volatility continuing to compress here across the equity system. 1 minute to the open. We get right here on
the Qs are dropping just a bit here on the open.
Oh, president's consistent. Powell should cut interest rates. Great inflation numbers for USA. That means Jerome too late Powell should cut interest rates. If I want to quote him.
I just don't think that's going to happen. I just really don't think it's going to happen. I think they box themselves into a corner now. All right, here we go.
We'll see. Here comes the open here. There we go. First move, I'm staying on the Qs to start off with, is slightly to the downside for the algos. 627.35 was our open.
And I'm in ZSL at 316, 319. I might take that. I'm pretty heavy. 320 there. Wow.
Silver is popping back up on the physical market, so keep your eye on that, Steve. Back at 88.15 here.
Heck, I might buy some more. Why not?
Bitcoin 92.3334 here. Like I said, looks like to me it wants to make a run today towards 94. 94.5 would be the first real big resistance.
I think there'll be some dumping. There it is. There's some dumping here in
silver back below 88. Sticking right around that 88. Like you said, volume, just crazy on it there. Just seen someone point out that Palantir is forward.
So I got my four pennies out of it. ZSL there. I'm happy.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, 318 now.
Bitcoin 92.330 holding up pretty well.
Oh, maybe not.
Steve's on ZSL, so I'll pull that chart up here. The market on open imbalance, S&P was plus 108. NASDAQ was actually flat, down -6, and the Mag 7 +2. Bitcoin 92.350, so not really making a move here so far. Your ZSL back at 319 here. Low of the day was 316. High of the day 341.
And I've got back in there, Hondo, but I like this run a little bit. So let's see if I can get it again.
Google up 1.7, definitely the leader when it comes to the Mag 7 today. And Netflix regained the 90 handle here. So Google, nice move to the upside. Netflix seeing weakness across the other names so far, but nothing really breaking one way or the other. Microsoft down a little bit after putting out some good news. I thought it was interesting today. Microsoft came out and basically explained how they're going to be good neighbors in the data center business and how they're not going to be terrible for the environment and how, things like that. They'll be able to do that.
Tick is down 300 here, so we may be careful here because we could see some sell off in the stock market here a little bit. Dow's down 70 points here. Nasdaq's floating around the break even handle here on the day, so I be careful, folks. This could be one of those wonky days. I can already feel it a little bit. It's just be careful today. I'm not liking this day a little too much. Building permits in Canada down sharply. I mean, no one's building in Canada. That's interesting. And Bitcoin 92.4 here, so it could.
Yep,
it is really trying.
Moving a little bit to the upside, looking pretty decent here.
I think we get back to 100,000, Howard. I think that we could see a pop here as the short start to capitulate.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick look here and make sure nothing off of my stuff's popping that I need to do anything with. Nothing really.
Yeah, dollar yen.
UNH continuing to slide to the downside here, Steve. At some point here, does this get interesting to you? Back down at 339 after getting up over 350, I believe. Yeah.
It's going to be one of those that just works its way up. It's going to take time, but it's going to work its way back up.
Advanced decline at 1720 here, so pretty flat throughout the morning.
Yeah,
Tick
it's pretty
is
quiet.
slightly negative, but all of the indices are so far in the green. Gold back
92.5.
above, I mean, silver back above 88, gold at 46.16. We do see Bitcoin trying to break 92.5 here. Like I said, look for a little run there maybe today. And we do see, oil picking back up a little bit. WTI back across the 60 handle here. So
You know what's
that's good
interesting
to
is the
see.
silver pushing up like that and ZSL also pushing up. That tells you that there's a lot of old buying ZSL thinking that we might be hitting highs here. This could be the end of the silver run. I'm not gonna call a top here just yet. I'm pretty good at calling tops, but I'm not quite there yet. But I think they could make a run to 100, and that's the case. Then I think you just got to dump. I mean, that's just silliness. But 92.5 now in Bitcoin.
AMD running, I pointed that out in the pre-market, up about 6%. Analyst upgrade there has them moving nicely. So keep an eye on the chip sector. After being up in the pre-market, JP Morgan pulling back here now, down 0.5 percentage point. Steve, does it become a price where you start to like JP Morgan here today if it falls down a little bit?
It's had a hell of a run over the last few months. If you look at a weekly chart, it's toppy. I mean, it's very toppy. And JP Morgan's had if you look at a 1 year run, just wow, that's a great run. I think it's something like 220 to 320, right?
Yeah, 34% up 1 year in the year.
Yeah. So, and just remind everybody that's a bank. So like that's a lot. So no, I probably won't be. ZSL getting down 318 again. Here we go. Can we do this again?
Do see the Chinese names I mentioned yesterday were high flyers are pulling back today. PDD down about 4%, Baidu down 3.21, JD down 1.14. We also see the rate sensitive names SNPS and CDNS both getting hit a little bit this morning. On the other side, as I mentioned, Oracle now 207, moving up 1.07% again today. So we continue to see strength out of Oracle here, and a nice move continuing up by Intel, now up 3% here, moving to the upside.
And Tesla's down. It tells you the rotation is it's moving, right? That's
Netflix up 1.6% above 90, trying to push to 91. Google up 1.75, the big leader in the mega cap so far today.
92.6 again, but 92 it popped up to 92.7 there.
Steve, you got to talk about Boeing up at 245 here.
Gotta love Boeing. I still do.
So just set a 52-week high, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I got such a backlog there. Just
Berkshire Hathaway back below 500 here again, 496.38, down about 0.5 percentage point today on the day. I mentioned the crypto names could run today. Coinbase up about 2.5%. Seeing a little bit of strength out of some of the software names. CrowdStrike up about 70 basis points so far. Again, weakness across airlines. Delta Airlines down about 2.32%, but coming off of lows of the day.
Dilbert creator Scott Adams has now entered hospice care. So it was one of my favorite cartoons. 92.7 here coming up on Bitcoin here.
Do you see those defense names giving back some of those pre-market runs? As you mentioned, LAX up 3.36%, but down from 362 to 352 here. Same thing on Huntington, was up at 413.76, now below 403. So some of the early morning rises giving up.
Nike's up 2% here.
Albemarle having a good day, up another 2.78% here, now 2.4%, excuse me. And then I forgot to mention in the pre-market, EOS Energy up nicely here today, up about 3.41%.
Boy, that is, if you look at a weekly chart on Bitcoin, that is the bottom. That linear regression is hugging that bottom. And I'll tell you, that weekly chart looks really dang good on Bitcoin, man. That thing looks like it's going to pop back up and fast. 92.9 now on Bitcoin. We're about to hit 93,000 here. 92.7. There are some sellers up there. Q's just took off.
Yep. As I said, and be careful with the charts on Bitcoin right now. It's about the on-chain metrics. You got to worry about the perpetual futures. It will get you to a spot, sort of like your tweet analysis. Technical analysis will just tell you where it's going to stop its run or start it, so to speak. Be careful at 95, 96. Q's struggling to get above the 629 level here. That's where it's been sort of battling out for the last few minutes here. Tried to break it right on the cash open, wasn't able to, pulled back. Now trying to make another run. So that's sort of the key line to watch here. If we can get back to 630, looks like the Q's might have some breathing room back up towards all-time highs, 635, 637.01, excuse me, would be what we would be looking for there.
Eli Lilly, CEO now on CNBC.
Big news yesterday, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, is the investment of NVIDIA into Eli Lilly. Steve, were you surprised by that?
Not at all. I've been saying that, right? I mean, that
is
get
NVIDIA
ready,
becoming the new Berkshire Hathaway? They seem to be investing in a lot of other companies.
Smart. I mean, I've said this.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just, that this seems to be, I don't know any other chip company that's really done that. We know the Amazons of the world. We know, some of the others that do that, but we hadn't really seen that across that sector, right?
Correct.
Most of their money has gone back into R&D on those things. It shows you how much cash NVIDIA is sitting on, as you've spoken in the past.
Man, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I ZSL is just printing money for me today.
Advanced declines down to 817, so we've lost about half of the stocks that were green are now in the red. The NASDAQ has gone negative, so we are seeing a little bit of pullback here across technology.
I have bought ZSL once again here.
And we do see real estate sector, financial sector are in the red, along with healthcare, materials, and utilities. Industrials are leading the way, along with energy. So energy and industrials today are the leaders in the clubhouse. As you said, Bitcoin trying to break to highs here at 92,850. We should start seeing the squeezes push it up here.
And I'm buying a little bit more here, I think.
Solana coming up on key resistance here. So we do have crypto starting to creep up, a lot of them on key resistance. So keep your eye open.
And if you're seeing Bitcoin creeping up, that means money's coming out of a couple will come out of silver. I don't think they can handle both. So I kind of like this.
DXY back above 99 here. So King Dollar starting to raise its head. Rates haven't really moved since the first move on that. A little bit of weakness here. Tick has gone slightly negative now. Ticked right back up. Never mind. And the Q's just popped right back up 23 basis points. So we do definitely see some strength so far. We'll see if it can hold up. Seems like lately we've been setting those highs early in the day, right? And then sort of fading out throughout the rest of the day. So be careful. That has been the structure we've seen in general. You see Capital One starting to get a little bit of love here after yesterday's rough day, up about 73 basis points here. use that 50-day SMA as some nice support, continuing to rise here. Did see talk, Steve, that I think it was former speaker that was on there that said that the president's using that 10% just to get them into the White House to talk, and that sort of similar to the way with the drug companies that using the heavy hammer to try to get negotiations.
Trump just said on Iran, help is on the way.
Oh man. JP Morgan down 1.9% here, Steve. I will tell you, for me, if it gets down to the 50-day MA around 313.92, I start to get interested there at that spot. That's a pretty big pullback.
President Trump now says Iranian patriots keep protesting, take over institutions, save the names of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stop. Help is on the way. Make Iran great again.
Yeah, keep protesting, take over your institutions.
Wow.
That should get defense stocks aren't popping on that news. You would think that they would. They are actually pulling back still, so maybe they don't believe what the traders aren't listening to the president this morning. That should change. We do see they're starting to stabilize a little bit on that news. AMD still up 6.63% here, so moving to the upside nicely. Iron, as I said, the Bitcoin crypto adjacent.
Oil is jumpy here, 61.30 here. Oil is very jumpy here.
To me, that means watch for silver to go to the upside. Oh, there it goes. 89. You want to know where the money's going. Oil to those commodity traders, I think, stay between themselves. I know Bitcoin gets in there on the retail side, but DXY fell back below 99 here. Financials continuing to get hit. XLF at lows of the day down 1.39% now here.
I'm going to stay with MSCSL. I'm okay with that.
57. Now 54.51. Same type of thing there. I think XLF gets interesting if it falls down to that 53.69 50-day SMA. It's where most of the stuff stopped yesterday that was dropping. So I do think we're finding buyers at those key levels. So keep an eye if there's more weakness to get some value today.
Down 300
up
here.
Slightly on the president's tweet there. We're now back at 1537. We had gotten as low as 1475 in the cash market. We know in the free market, we were even down below 1475. So,
yeah. Yeah, down 300 now because of that tweet. Meta and Luxottica in talks to raise AI glasses capacity. Okay.
NASDAQ moving to the upside here, up now 20 basis points. And again, trying to make a run, got to break through that 26,009 area. If you're looking at it through the Qs, it's that 630. Bitcoin struggled to break through that 92,800 area.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a drop now in the gold and silver. I think there's a little pump. Okay, well, CME just said with all the silver and gold at record levels, of now launching a new 100-ounce silver futures.
Oh yeah, you're seeing more ETFs that are going to launch. I'm surprised there's no we haven't seen anybody follow the digital asset treasury route, and we haven't seen silver treasury companies popping up yet. Give them some time. uh
I mean, that's only $9,000, so I don't. That's they're playing to the retail trade there.
I do see on the crypto side, CoinGecko looking to be sold for maybe $500 million, hired Moelis as their banker. That would be pretty big news there. They're probably the largest news aggregator in crypto right now. Ticket is negative. Advanced declines going almost to neutral here, only up 200, Steve. So stock pickers market, we see, a lot of those financials getting hit pretty hard so far. Where are my banks? Silver holding up about that 88, 82. So 89 seems to be the new ceiling there to keep an eye on. As I said, Qs are flat on the day now. S&P's gone negative through the SPY, down about 11 basis points so far.
Yeah, here comes the drop.
Small cap still leading the way. RUT is up 11 basis points here, Steve.
Yeah, Dell's found a bottom here a little bit. Nasdaq's about to go red itself. Oh, hello.
It's still pretty negative, so we'll see. Good.
Yeah, gold's dumping now a little bit.
We do see defense names coming off of the lows of the day since President Trump's tweet, excuse me. AMD and Intel still continuing to be strong here. A little bit of a pullback across the nuclear names. Miners still strong with Albemarle leading the way up 3.35%. There are some strong energy names. Oxy up about 2.2% on the oil side. And then on the sort of clean energy side, EOSE up 6.08%. Chinese names continuing to give up space here. We do see it looks like some of the airlines are starting to get a little bit of a base here after falling. You still see UAL down about 60 basis points. American Airlines down 1.69, and Delta still down a little bit more than 2% here going into the top of the hour. Google now up 2.25% again. It just continues to lead the way. Tesla has gone green on the day, and Netflix trying to break above 91 after struggling to stay above 90 most of the day yesterday. Finally broke through that. Seems to be holding up pretty well. Chip sector, a mixed bag. Like I said, AMD and Intel on upgrades looking pretty strong. They're bringing some folks with them, like Applied Digital, up 2% here this morning. We do see TSM up 58 basis points, AVGO up 50 basis points. NVIDIA slightly down, ASML to the downside also. Again, data center names strong. TeraWulf up 2% here today. CleanSpark up 4%. Cipher Mining up 6.19%. So we do, and Hive up 9.54. So we do see some strength in that sector also. You see WeRide getting a hit here pretty hard, down 7%. So again, Chinese names seems to be the laggards. mRNA, Moderna with a nice move to the upside here, up 8.14% there. Back up around $36. So that stock has made a nice little recovery, Steve.
Yeah.
Again, mining names like SSRM up 7.65%. Again, a lot of these names are crypto adjacent names that are leading the way. We'll see if Bitcoin can hold up and keep that going. Back at 92,460. So a little bit of a pullback there. Steve, what are you looking for today as we're ready to?
I'm looking for gold and silver to pull back a little bit. If all this nonsense is happening around the world and this is that's all they can push on it, then I still think that, yeah, there we go. Come on, baby, let's go. Keep dropping on silver. I like it. I like it a lot.
Steve,
okay.
Steve, with the contrarian play there, saying if everything's going to hell and they're not moving way to the upside, it shows you that they are overextended. Is that the thesis here, Steve?
Pretty much it, yeah.
I like that. I like that. Okay, everybody, for us here at Quasar Markets, have a fantastic trading day. Steve's been killing it all morning with ZSL. Go get him, Steve, and we will see you all tomorrow morning.